Good morning. What's good, YouTube? Just going on my daily walks. Today what I want to talk to you about how day trading, my trading specifically, has changed in 2020. Didn't change a lot, but just added a few things to the mix. So if you already know, guys, the market is behaving differently than logic. Basically, if we have an earnings report that's negative, a stock ends up shooting up on value. So I remember a week ago, I actually I showed you guys what I'm looking at, but today we're going to go into more deep details. You're going to have to use this if you're trading catalysts and news, especially with what's happening currently in the market, where stocks are shooting up on value because of hype and hope. So this here, you're going to have to use it in your own trading. So how has trading changed in 2020, guys? So let's just ask the first question. Why the market crashed in 2020? Obviously, because investors were saying to themselves, the economy will shrink. And the stock market is a reflection of the economy, okay? So what we seen a few months ago was basically investors lacking confidence in the economy. After the coronavirus shut businesses down and there was no business, sales and revenues was almost zero. So obviously the stock will not basically be of value that it was a few months ago. So majority of stocks were halved in value. So if you follow me on this channel, you know, guys, that I taught you how I trade, my earnings reports with day trading, etc., etc. And if we have a negative earnings report, logic says a stock should go down in value. But nowadays, if we have a negative earnings report, you see a stock shooting up on value. And many people are wondering, why the hell is that happening? Why is any stock really going up on value? There has to be a reason. And the reason is because the overall stock market is going up in value. So what is the overall stock market? Well, that is the Dow Jones, DJI. So when we're trading nowadays, we're using DJI as the indicator to tell us where these stocks will be headed. Which stocks? Cruise lines and airlines, because they suffered the most. For an investor, those stocks are rewarded because they suffered the most. Their value was halved, I think 70–80%, so their reward can be great. So that's where you'll see most of the volume, and that's why we trade these. Now, there has to be a reason behind our trades. Always, we have to understand why the market will go in a specific direction. And if that market goes in that specific direction, so will cruise lines and airlines. All right, so they'll follow the overall market direction. And today's trade, I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I mean by that. So if you're on the inside, if you're on the chat room, I share my game plan with you guys every day. And you see, I talk about a V-shaped pattern. A V-shaped pattern and how these stocks will follow the overall market direction. So the V-shaped pattern, guys, you know, it's a pattern that has been repeating itself based on traders' psychology. So I'm tapping into the investor's mindset and basically understanding why an investor is about to do a specific thing, whether it's buying a stock or selling the stock, getting rid of the shares. And the reason is the microeconomics. All right, what is microeconomics? Well, microeconomics is the study of the economy. That's what microeconomics is. I know it's a big fancy word. On this channel, I like to speak like a baby, but anybody can understand it. You don't really need to go to college. Microeconomics is the study of basically how the economy is doing. We're looking at interest rate. We're looking at, you know, especially in this period when businesses have reopened, unemployment reports, oil prices stabilizing, etc., etc. Right? There's a few things that we look at, and that tells us how the investor is thinking. I mean, I'm not going to listen to some guy on YouTube talking about how they think the market will do such and such. No, I'm going to listen to specific people just by Googling, right, the U.S. economy, and I'm going to listen to these official people giving their predictions and projections. Whether it's the world, you know, the banks usually give their reports on how they think the economy will do, how the housing prices will be in the next couple of weeks, months. So I'm looking at these things, and it's just a simple Google search. So when I see that, I'm saying to myself, there's gonna be a panic. And I'm picking which news I'm focused on, because not every piece of article is as significant as the other. So some stocks or some news will move mountains, while others, it will be just, you know, under the table. Nobody will focus on, because it's not as significant. It won't move the markets, it won't move the economy. So let's say we have good news here, right, or bad news that says this and that, but then there's even a major news that is good. So what do you think is going to happen? Usually as a trader, I'm looking and I'm trading based on what? Psychology of investors and traders. So I'm looking at fear and then hype. So the bad news is the fear. I know there's going to be a drop immediately, a sell-off, panic, especially nowadays when the market is overvalued and investors are saying to themselves, it's getting too hot. So usually what happens is investors and traders want the prices or the stocks to be priced in at a specific level to make it fair, so to make it less risky to invest their money. So usually what we see is a V-shaped pattern, the one that I've been preaching on the chat room all the time. The V-shaped pattern is basically a drop on market open and then a recovery, and majority of stocks will follow that exact pattern. You're welcome. So let's just have a look at this trade that I made earlier, guys. First 5 minutes of market open. Basically, I placed a buy position. You can see on the right, that's the DJI chart, and on the left, that's the RCL, Royal Caribbean, which is a cruise line. Again, placed 400 shares of that stock, and you can see the market on the right here is pumping upwards. And Royal Caribbean is following the exact trend, but Royal Caribbean is actually delayed. So just a little bit. But eventually, guys, it follows the overall market, as you can see here. This one is pumping, so is this. Literally the same pattern, guys. And now next time you see a stock behave in a specific way, you understand the reason why it's doing so. And the reason why it's doing so is this, right? The overall stock market is pumping. Now, there has to be a reason. And the reason is psychology, investors thinking. What are they thinking? If you're not tapping into the investor's mindset, then you're basically a step behind, okay? Even when day trading. I mean, if you're a day trader and you're actually neglecting this, then I don't know what you're doing. It's not just about, oh, here's a breakout, here's this, here's that. Like, that's, I don't know. That's, for me, I don't even understand why you're trading. Like, you need a reason why you're making a trade. Some kind of confidence to keep you in the game. When you see a stock becoming volatile like it was a few minutes ago when I was in the red. But here we are, guys. We're 340 so far, and I think on this trade we took $700 real quick, and then I placed another position trade for the day. So $400, and it's exactly the same pattern, okay? So microeconomics is very important here when making decisions and when you're making your trades. So that's all I wanted to do, guys, just explain it to you. Hopefully this video kind of makes sense to a lot of you guys when trading. We're looking at basically news articles. We don't need to look at, write reports about the economy. We're just looking at news articles from official figures out there, who are basically reporting job unemployment reports, interest rate, banks and whatnot. And usually big social media, or not social media, big agencies will report them to the world and to investors, to keep investors educated and whatnot. And that's all we use while making trades. And the rest is just understanding how investors will react to that news. So get in, get out while the getting is good. That's my advice to everybody watching. So, gotta go. Appreciate you for watching. Smash that like button. A lot of you guys done really well today on the chat room. So, I'll see you again for more videos, guys. Hopefully this video made sense. I'll see you for more videos. Let me know in the comment section if it helped. Like button is all I ask for these kind of videos. Otherwise, I'll see you on Instagram. Peace.